Good evening. Thank you for joining me this evening online. So I start my mornings most morning with a cup of coffee and I turn on the news, which at the moment is very overwhelming. But one of the things I love about the morning news that I'm watching is a feature called the Morning Boost. And it's to boost our enthusiasm, our happiness levels. And it's just little short stories of people who have stepped up, people who have offered their services, people who have offered acts of kindness, acts of courage, helping their friends, their neighbours, helping the general population during this very tough time. And one of the stories that really grabbed my attention last week was that of a young girl who had just graduated from medical school. And she had done her online graduation and was interviewed shortly after that. Her plan was that she was starting her residency the very next day. And she'd been looking forward to this for a whole year, but it was looking very different than she had expected it to. She was walking straight into a medical centre that was pretty well chock full of people with the coronavirus. And the interviewer asked her if she was nervous. And she replied, of course, I'm absolutely terrified. So the interviewer said, well, why are you doing it? And she said, this is what I've always wanted to do. This is my calling. This is what I've worked and studied and set as my path for the last, I think it was 8 years, ever since she had lost one of her parents to cancer. Our theme this week is courage. And that to me was just the epitome of courage. This young girl recognizing that courage wasn't the absence of fear. It wasn't having no fear at all, but it was recognizing her feelings, that she was scared, she was worried, she was ready to run, and yet still digging deep and finding that strength inside to keep going, to do what she had always wanted to do, to long to do what she believed was right despite the fear. And that's courage, the willingness to act from the heart, to let your heart lead the way, knowing what's required of you next, or perhaps walking into the unknown. This week, our reading from David White's book Consolations. He talks about this aspect of courage, of walking into the unknown, of taking up what our heart tells us to do. He says, courage is the measure of our heartfelt participation with life, with another, with a community, a work, a future. To be courageous is not necessarily to go anywhere or do anything except to make conscious those things we already feel deeply, and then to live through the unending vulnerabilities of their consequences. If you haven't already, please start by closing your eyes and coming to your breath. Take out just a few deep, long breaths, beginning to stretch your breath just a little bit longer than natural. If courage is a quality of the heart, we can use our practice to refine that ability to hear its call, to quieten our minds, to open ourselves, to listen more deeply. Please bring your hands together at your heart center and join your voices with mine in chanting the sound of Om 3 times. Taking an inhale with me. Take just a moment to bow your head to your heart. Make a connection there. And then very slowly lifting your head, release your hands and open your eyes. And we'll start just by working a little bit with the shoulders, the neck, the upper back. So when we practice yoga, we often talk about connecting with the heart. It's a heart-centered practice. And we're opening the heart on a physical, an emotional, and a spiritual level. So opening the heart on a physical level is really about moving the shoulders back and creating an expansion through the front of your chest, a softening through the upper back. So let's start just with the hands resting on your legs, rolling the shoulders up towards your ears, squeezing your shoulders up. And as you exhale, taking the shoulders down and back. Do that a few times with your breath. So inhale, rolling your shoulders up and forward, squeezing them up towards your ears. And then slowly exhaling, releasing your shoulder blades down your back, opening up through your chest. Just continue in that way a couple of times, rolling the shoulders. Some movement, some opening at the front of your chest. So as we open up the chest, then we allow the energy of the heart to flow. In the energy of the heart, we hold our emotions, the good emotions, as we call good, or the more challenging emotions. So releasing and opening that energy helps the emotions shift and release. Let's move the shoulders in the opposite direction now, rolling the shoulders forward and down. And as the energy of the heart center, the emotions begin to disperse, our awareness can land more fully in the spiritual heart, the heart of hearts, the innermost heart, which is where we find the qualities of love, of strength, of courage, of wisdom. Come back to your shoulders wide, relax the tops of your shoulders soft, and just close your eyes for a moment more here. Taking just one or two full deep breaths to land fully in your body. And check in with yourself. What are you bringing to class today? What emotions, what feelings are you carrying with you? Is it something you wish to expand, to let move more freely through you? Or something you're willing to release and let go of? Just gently open your eyes once again and moving to your mat. If you're sitting forward like I am of your mat, I'm going to just adjust the screen so that you can see my mat here. So today for practice, we're going to need 2 pillows. If you haven't got 2, we can make do with 1. And a couple of blankets or towels. We'll set the pillows aside for a moment and just come to your mat, find your blanket, and we're going to take the blanket or the towel and just fold it into a small, long rectangle like this. And place that at the back of your mat. And then come to lie on your back with your left shoulder closest to your camera, to your screen. So coming down to lie on your mat, have your head on your support here, so on your blanket, and your shoulders free. So the top of the blanket comes just above the top of your shoulders. And then please take your arms out to the side. And if you have glasses like this, you can take them off for the moment and stretch your arms long. So from your heart center, you're reaching out through your arms, through your fingertips. Palms are soft. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Take a breath here. And then just some very gentle twists to the side. So as you exhale, dropping the knees just a little towards the left. And then inhaling them back up to center. And exhaling, dropping the knees a little towards the right. So just very small, gentle movements, dropping the knees side to side. Your feet are lifted. Use your core just as you exhale to drop the knees to the side, and then inhale and draw the knees to center. And drop the knees to the opposite side. All the while your head stays center, your arms extended, and your chest stays open. A couple more to each side. Exhaling to drop the knees to one side, inhaling back to center. Exhaling to the first side again. And the next time you come to drop the knees over towards the left, see if you can drop them all the way over to the side. And if the knees don't come all the way over to the side, you can grab one of your pillows and place that underneath your knees. So you're bringing the floor up to meet the knees rather than putting any strain on your back. Keep your arms extended, heart open. This is one of the ways we open up through the chest by drawing the shoulders back, extending through the arms. And then let's add a little movement here. So keeping the left arm extended along the floor, inhale and take your right arm up to the sky. And as you exhale, drop the right arm towards the left. And drawing the belly and the ribs in, extend that top arm a little bit further forward, rounding your upper back slightly. And then inhale, take the arm back up. And exhale, stretch open towards the right. Once again, inhaling, take your arm up. So it's almost like you're closing a book as you exhale. Take the right arm towards the left and extend the right fingertips a little bit longer. So you're opening up through the right side of your back. The right shoulder blade is gliding away from center. And then inhale, open up as if you're opening that book back up again. Head following the arm. Do two more at your own pace. See as you open the arms back up, if you can stretch just a little bit wider here. And as you bring your arm over towards the left again, can you slide your fingertips just a little further away? Next time you inhale, take your arm up to the sky and open up the chest once again so the arms are stretched away from one another and your head is resting back on your blanket. Just make a little movement with the arm here. So keeping the left arm as it is, the right arm, and I hope you can see this here, will just lift an inch or so off the floor. And then keeping it lifted, take the right arm down towards your right hip, straight down, and then inhaling it, sweeping it in a semicircle, first out towards the side, and then up overhead. So the arm may come to, if you're looking at a clock, 11 o'clock, maybe it will come up to 12 o'clock, lengthening along the ribcage, along the side waist. And then exhaling, take your arm back down. Fingertips just gently sweeping along the floor. Stretch it down towards your hip. And then inhaling, sweep the arm up. And as far overhead as is comfortable for your shoulder. Just one more time. Exhaling, take the arm down as if it's reaching to the end of your mat. And then inhaling, sweeping the arm out and up above your head. And then just gently bring your arm down by your side. Once again, extend the arms out. Take the shoulders back. So just as we started class, rolling the shoulders up and back, letting your shoulder blades lie down your back. Inhale and bring your knees back to center. If you were using a pillow, switch it to the other side. And then let your knees drop over towards the right side. And we'll do the same sequence on the right side. So starting with the arms extended, the knees squeezing towards each other, resting either on the ground or on your support, your pillow. Take a breath. Full breath in, a deep breath out. And then begin to move the left arm. So bringing the left arm up towards the ceiling and exhaling, taking it over towards the right. Emptying all the breath out here, squeezing the ribs, the belly in, and sliding your left arm a little bit further towards the right. And then inhaling, opening the book, rolling your head back towards the left. Arm comes down towards the floor. With your breath, inhaling, reaching up, and exhaling, reaching your arm long towards the right. Carry on this fluid movement with your breath just for a few more rounds, opening and closing. So you're opening up the front of your chest and then opening up the back of your heart. Let's do 2 more here. Great. And once you come back to the position where your left arm is reaching out towards the left, the right arm reaching towards the right, the head comes back to center. Let's do that gentle movement with the arms. So with the left arm this time, the left arm sweeps down along the floor. So the shoulder's a little bit off the floor, but the fingertips can just sweep the floor. Down towards your hip. And then inhaling, sweep the arm up and overhead as far as it will comfortably go. And just use your intelligence, your wisdom here to know how far this arm can move. It may feel very different than the opposite side. So take your arm down and then just semicircle, sweep it back, up and overhead. 2 more times. Sweeping the arm down, just mobilizing the shoulder blade, the back of the upper back, the thoracic spine tends to get very stiff as we round over our computers, as we drive, as we live the lives we live. So we're just bringing a little gentle movement and opening into the upper back. And then bring your arm back out to the side. And inhale, draw the knees back to center. Drop them all the way over to the left. And let's just roll to the left today. So rolling towards your screen. Place your hands on the floor. And gently help yourself up to sitting. We'll leave the blanket there just where it is for the head. And you take either 1 or 2 pillows. We're coming into a sideline pose. The sideline poses help to open up the rib cage to allow a deeper breath. So if you have a longer torso, you may want to put either 2 pillows or a pillow and a blanket down. If your torso is on the shorter side, then just see for yourself what works for you. So I'm going to use 2 pillows here because I have a long torso. And then once again, coming to sit facing the screen. Your left hip will be beside the pillows. And the pillows here they may seem higher than a bolster, but they're a lot softer, so they take the shape of your body. So lengthening up, you'll come down to lying on your side. The left arm extended along the floor, the knees bent and the heels drawing in towards your hips. And then you'll take your blanket, and for me, I like to fold the blanket in half so it lifts up towards my head, so the head's not hanging here. So you're lying on your side, the rib cage is over your bolster or your pillows here, and your head is resting in line with your spine. So the head's not tilting forward or resting back. It's nicely in line with the spine, so the curves of your spine stay in alignment. And then please bring your top hand to your rib cage. Feel your rib cage here. Feel the movement of your rib cage as you breathe. As you breathe in, you may feel a little rise, a filling of the rib cage, and as you breathe out, a softening. The hand resting on your rib cage, just feel the movement of your rib cage. The muscles between the rib cage tend to get very tight. This isn't a position that we're in very often. We don't do these lateral bends to open up the rib cage. And when the ribs are tight, then the lungs don't have that space to expand, to take a deeper breath. So as you lie here, just let your body gently soften and take the shape of your support, of your pillows or your bolster, so that there's a gentle bowing on the top ribs, the right ribs here. Fill the ribs with your breath. And as you exhale, let everything soften and release. Breathing deeply in, breathing deeply out. Let your mind just follow the breath. Keeping the breath as smooth, as even, as rhythmic as possible. Here, just allow the breath. So rather than trying to force the movement of the rib cage, the movement of the breath, just allow the breath to rise and fall. To fill your body, expand it from the inside out. Your hands comfortable on the ribs, just let it rest there. If you'd like to take your arm up and overhead, if that feels more comfortable to you, you can rest your fingertips on the floor overhead, or rest your arm just on your body or on the bolster in front of you. Finding a comfortable place. You can just be here with your breath, with the movement of your body. Stay here for another few breaths. Feeling that rise and fall of your ribcage as you breathe. Breathing in to open, breathing out to surrender. Take 2 more breaths on this side. After your second breath, roll a little bit towards the left side, a little bit towards the floor. Bring both hands onto the floor and pressing down into your palms, keeping your head relaxed. Gently help yourself back up to sitting. And from here, you're just going to turn yourself around. So your back this time will be to the screen. Bring the opposite hip, the right hip this time, towards your pillow or pillow stack. Knees bent, heels in towards your hips. And start by creating length. So with the hips grounded here, inhale and reach up, lengthen all the way from your waist to your armpit. Keeping that length, begin to drape yourself over your pillows. Bring your head support just where it's needed. So move it a little bit towards the right. And then rest your head down. Extend your right arm along the mat, the palm facing up. And then bring your left hand to your left ribs. And feeling the left ribs and the shape of the left ribs come back to your breath. Feel a gentle expansion and contraction of the ribcage as you breathe. Each breath creating a little more space, a little more opening in your ribcage. The ribcage is that armor, that support that holds our lungs and our heart. And when the lungs can expand more fully, there's space for the heart center to open. The breath that nourishes your heart can become more full. Continue just to breathe in this nourishment and exhale, softening and surrendering. Allowing your body just to very gradually take the shape of this pose. To open up all the intercostal muscles along the right side of your ribs. This is a practice of being rather than doing. And in this being, we have to find our courage just to simply be with whatever arises, whatever emotions are shaken up, disturbed, or uncovered by the breath, by the energy that opens up in the heart center. Often we want to distract ourselves, to find something else to do to avoid meeting these emotions head on. But in this practice of stillness, of rest, we invite ourselves just to stay, to be present with whatever arises. It's that willingness to meet whatever is there. That's the courage of the practice. After your next breath, roll slightly towards your right side, placing your hands on the floor. Press down into your hands and slowly roll yourself back up to sitting. Once again, letting your head come up last. So the head just floats up in line with your spine. Take a moment to pause and to feel. And we're going to take, if you have two pillows, just take one away and set that off to the side. I'm going to keep one of your pillows and place it towards the middle of your mat. And then your head support here will remain just as it is. And then I'd like you just to come down to lying on your belly. So the belly is on the pillow and your legs are extended long behind you. And then you can bring your forehead down onto your folded blanket. So for me in this position, I want to unfold my blanket and let my head come down a little lower because that's just more comfortable. And this whole practice is about finding comfort. So see what it feels like for you in this pose. And then let your forehead rest onto the support of your blanket, the belly on the pillow, and your arms in any comfortable position. So elbows on the mat, forearms on the mat, shoulders relaxed, legs extended. Find your forward lying Shavasana position here, please. Taking a moment or two just to settle there, making any movements to support your head a little more fully, to move your arms so that the shoulders can be wide and relaxed. And then once again, settle into your breath. And notice here that lying on your belly with that feedback of the pillow underneath your belly, you become more aware of a restriction there. And the breath can move a little bit more fully, a little bit more deeply into your back, into the back of your ribs, opening up the back of your rib cage, and into the lower back, perhaps up to the upper back, to the area across your shoulder blades, so that you maybe feel your shoulder blades here expand as you breathe in, and gently slide back down your back as you breathe out. Rest your awareness on your breath here. We're going to start to deepen the exhale. So beginning to lengthen that exhale breath. Breathing in fully and letting the breath really fill your back body. And as you exhale, letting the belly relax even more fully into the support of the pillow. Letting the back release. Breathing in fully and extending your exhale. So it's a long, deep, full exhale. Feeling your body release down into the ground. You can start here to count the length of your inhale and the length of your exhale. So if you're inhaling for 4, perhaps here, start with an exhale for 6. Gently stretching that breath. And if that's comfortable for you, extend the breath even longer as you breathe out. Inhaling for 4 and exhaling for 8. This long, slow exhale helps to settle the nervous system, helps to settle the mind. The heart speaks very gently and lovingly and quietly, and it's often not heard beneath the incessant chatter, the clamour of the thoughts of the mind. So here, with your forehead resting on the blanket, and this long, slow, deep exhale, we're quieting the nervous system, quietening the mind, so that you can more fully be present with that gentle call of the heart. Begin to release that longer exhale now. And let your breath come back to its natural rhythm. So from lying on your belly, the easiest way to get up here is to slide your hands back. So the hands are on the floor, elbows lifted. Then tuck your toes under, and pressing down into your hands, just come up to hands and knees. Be on hands and knees for a breath or two. You can place your pillow off to the side for a moment and bring your hands to the mat. So the wrists are underneath your shoulders, the knees underneath your hips. If it feels good in your back here, take a few rounds of cat-cow, inhaling and exhaling, arching and rounding. Perhaps move your hips in circles. Really feeling into what your body is asking for. Then come to stillness and sit back for a moment on your heels. You're going to take that blanket that was under your head, so it was the long thin blanket, and fold it over once. And place it back at the back of your mat. That is equivalent here to a block. And then taking the pillow, you'll place that on top. So you're creating a lift at the very back of your mat, and then the pillow comes to touch the mat. And then please come to sit in front of your setup. Just leave a little space between the back of your pelvis and the pillow. And here I'm going to suggest keeping the knees bent and just walking the feet a little bit wider, turning the toes in slightly, knocking the knees together. So if that feels good to you, try that. If you're craving a Supta Baddha Konasana, which I know a lot of people love, you can bring the soles of your feet together and the knees wide. But if you do this, have something to support underneath your legs. So this settling pose for the pelvis, I'm just going to suggest this toes facing one another, turning in slightly, knees touching, and then hands either side of your hips. Inhale, lengthen up. As you exhale, begin to draw the belly and the ribs in as you round your way back to lying on your bolster. So if you are like me and have this long torso, you might want to scooch a little bit forward so your head rests back. And have your support quite near the back of your bolster so that the head is fully supported here. Then bring your arms out by your sides, palms face up. Press your elbows into the mat to open up through your chest. And then let the elbows relax, let the hands relax. Let the eyes gently close. Take a full deep breath into your heart center. As if you could breathe in and out in the center of your chest. Breathing in, feel the belly rise, the ribs expand, and the collarbones widen. Breathing out, let everything soften. So as you draw the breath in, feel an expansion through your heart center. And as you breathe out, let that expansion create a softening and opening. Continue to breathe as if you could breathe through the center of your chest. Let your body land fully on the ground as you exhale deeply. Let the breath arrive in your body. Follow the inhale and feel the chest expand. And then follow along deep exhale, letting everything release downwards. And at the end of your exhale, notice a slight pause, a space. Let your awareness rest there for a moment. And then allow the inhale to rise once again. There's no force, no effort here in the breath. You're just allowing the breath to come and to go with ease. Bring your awareness to that very small, almost imperceptible pause at the end of your exhale. Let your awareness drop into that place of silence, of stillness. As you continue to breathe, rest in the stillness. And perhaps ask your heart, what is it? What is its message? What is it telling you this evening? How is it guiding you? When we get out of the way of the breath, it flows with ease. And in the same way, when we get out of our heads, when we get out of our own way, the wisdom of our heart flows. It whispers in this space of non-doing. Take this time just to listen. Begin to deepen your breath now. And take 3 full, deep, conscious breaths into your belly. Feel your belly rise as you breathe in, and gently settle as you breathe out. And at the end of your third breath, take a moment to stretch your legs long along the mat. And if it feels comfortable on your back, stretch your arms back behind you, reaching overhead. Stretch yourself long. And as you exhale, draw the knees in towards your chest. Wrap your hands around the fronts of your knees. And gently rock yourself side to side. Releasing your hands. Rock all the way over onto your right side, coming off your bolster, your pillow. Rest on your side for a few more breaths. And taking your time, gently make your way back up to sitting and take a comfortable seat for our final meditation this evening. I always like to suggest to sit up on a blanket, grounding down through your sit bones. If you need support under your knees here, Find your blankets or your pillows and you can pop them underneath your knees just to take the strain out of your hips and your lower back. So the meditation I wanted to share this evening was based on the idea of the Sanskrit word Surya, which means sun. And in many ancient systems, the sun was the heart of the solar system. Just as it's this pulsing, radiant muscle in the heart of our circulatory system. And I love that idea of the heart being like the sun that radiates our courage, our wisdom, our love out into the world. The more we touch into our heart, the more we connect with our heart, the more we connect with those qualities of the heart. And it's not surprising that our courage and our love come from that same source, or that same radiant source within us. Because we all know that when we come from a place of love, we find the courage to face our challenges, to support the people we love, the causes we love, the things that are most meaningful for us. So let's take this final meditation this evening to connect just a little bit more deeply with our hearts. As that connection grows, our courage grows with it. So please start by bringing your left hand, and I'm not going to mirror you here, I'm just going to bring my left hand to my heart and the right hand on top. Imagine the heart like a bright, vibrant sun right at the center of your chest. As you inhale, sun grows, expands, becomes even more radiant. And as you exhale, the heat, the fieriness settles and permeates through you. Inhale, feel the expansion of your chest, the lift of your heart underneath your hands. And as you exhale, imagine the warmth, the embrace of the sun moving through you. Please continue in this way just for a few more breaths, picturing or sensing the warmth, the vibrancy of the sun sitting right here at the center of your chest in your heart space. Keeping that connection of the sun in your heart. Your hands come to rest on your thighs, palms soft, fingers rolled up towards the sky. Breathe in and out through the heart, imagining the presence of a radiant sun right in the center of your chest. As thoughts come and go, just bring your awareness back to this place and onto the screen of your mind, this image of the sun, vibrant, alive, radiating inside of you. Courage shows up in so many ways in our lives. It looks different every day. The courage to speak out, the courage to stay quiet, the courage to stand up for the ones we love, the courage to keep them safe, the courage to show up each week on your mat, to be in the stillness, the silence, to be with yourself. Courage to turn inwards, to meet yourself as you are. We build our courage through the connection with our hearts. Please bring your hands together at your heart center. Begin to deepen your breath once again, bringing your awareness from that vibrant heart at the center of your chest back out into the room. And let's join our voices together in chanting the sound of Om, just one time to complete our practice this evening. Inhaling with me. Bowing your head to your heart, acknowledging the qualities it holds, and the power of the practice of yoga to access and to know those qualities more deeply. Thank you for joining me this evening, for your presence, for your practice. Namaste.